It's another year, and that means another year of the WNBA's off-season marketing program. And I've got a very special guest on the show to talk all about it with me. The Locked On Women's Basketball Podcast. It starts right now.
Ogunbowale for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm Jackie Powell and I'm one of your hosts on the program. Usually I host on Fridays, but this is one of those unique cases where I'm here and it's Thursday. But anyway, I cover the New York Liberty at the Next, which is what brings you all Locked On Women's Basketball 6 days a week. And I've covered women's basketball nationally at many other places. I want to thank you personally for making Locked On Women's Basketball your first listen every day. And remember, Locked On Women's Basketball is brought to you by everyone at the Next, a place where we cover women's basketball all the time, and we tell the stories that need to be told each and every day. Subscribe now to support the staff at the Next that works oh so hard to bring you this coverage that really truly matters. It's $9 a month or $72 for the year. Remember, Locked On Women's Basketball is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many more. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use code all lowercase LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Anyway, the last time we were together, I sat down with Alex Simon and we made some pretty gutsy predictions about the upcoming year in women's basketball. But today, I'm sharing with y'all my conversation with the one and only Shakira Austin, center for the Washington Mystics. And she is a part of the WNBA's 2024 League Player Marketing Agreement cohort. So during this conversation, Shakira and I first remind all of you exactly what player marketing agreements are and why they have significance. Then we'll get into why she made the choice to get involved. And then we'll talk a little bit about what Shakira is looking forward to when it comes to this program. I had an absolute blast learning a bit more about who Shakira is off the court. And I hope you do too. So hello all, I am here with Shakira Austin, and we are going to have a chat about the player marketing agreements coming in their third year here. And Shakira is taking part in them for the new year, for the 2024 year. So Shakira, thanks so much for taking the time. I think the first thing I want to ask you is just to sort of take the listeners through what player marketing agreements are and why they're here.
So my understanding is it's basically an opportunity for players in the league to stay during the off season and be able to do some marketing for the league, help endorse it, help bring awareness. Honestly, just get more involved with the marketing aspect. As you know, most of us will go overseas and end up playing year round. And after having a year of that, I thought this opportunity was great to not only be able to expose myself to new brands and, to help the league, but to honestly just be able to stay home and take care of my body and get prepared for the next season because, this is my priority. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm curious what your impression of the player marketing agreements was. I mean, I believe a teammate of yours and Ariel Atkins was
Yeah.
on it.
Yep.
So, what did you sort of see from the outside looking in?
I've seen basically everything I've been wanting to do since college NIL probably started. Getting your face on brands, doing modeling, just getting into the different sports aspects. She was able to stay here and really learn a lot. And as soon as I honestly heard about the opportunity, I was like, sign me up. Honestly, like I really thought this was just a great chance to just learn more marketing wise. I think just spread more awareness. So.
And so, I mean, did you talk to Ariel before you sort of committed to this? Did you sort of ask her what it was like? What were some of those conversations like?
Yeah, she just gave me a quick rundown, honestly. She said it was a great experience for her to be able to, stay home, and she explained, some of the things that she's done. Obviously I've seen, the Glossier and seen her modeling and seen her doing a lot of things that she wanted to, dip her feet into outside of basketball. And I think that's pretty much what I would say won me over. Was just her being able to not only tell her story in a way, but showcase that she's more than just an athlete while also, advocating for our sport that we play. So I just felt like it was a win-win.
For sure. I had heard from a previous year that there's like a little media day that all of the people on the player marketing agreements do. So
Yeah.
are you excited to sort of do that and maybe meet some players that you haven't crossed paths with?
Yes. Being this is like my second season, I'm pretty familiar with my team and a few others, but I've honestly haven't had the chance to build those relationships in the league. Obviously going straight overseas after the season, we just ramp it right back up and go straight into competition. There's no time to chalk it up and, learn more about the people we're actually playing against every day. So I'm definitely excited about that. It looks like a genuine fun media day, like just something that the girls can just bond over. You can tell that they support each other a lot more than if you weren't to know somebody. So I'm excited to build relationships and just learn more about people around the league and people who are trying to do what I'm doing. So.
Is there someone who you're looking forward to hanging with, who you've sort of been like, "Ooh, like, this is someone who I think I'd get along with really well," and now you're gonna get the opportunity?
I wouldn't say there's anybody on my list. Honestly, people who are just, I guess, interested in some of the things I'm interested in. I think that would be exciting. People who like to branch off from not just, basketball. I think that would be something exciting to build a relationship with someone like that. But I don't really have anybody in mind right now.
So, I guess the a large consideration in player marketing agreements is this concept of your brand. And so, what I
Mhm.
wanna know from you is how do you describe your brand right now? And what is sort of your vision for where you wanna take it to?
Right. Um, I know honestly, just deep down, I just representing me is just being uniquely me. Right now, I feel like I haven't been able to, really dip my toes into anything that I've been interested in, it's really just been basketball. And I just want to be able to tell my story, a little bit more, to get people to actually know who I am, and, not just the good athletes on the floor, but, the girl who likes to model and is into fashion and is into, community. And, DC is my hometown. It's like I have, a lot that, I like to represent. And I feel like this opportunity will really give me the chance to like showcase that, other than my skills on the court. So
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about your story and telling it and who you are and what you sort of see for this experience.
okay, sounds good.
Hi. I want to talk to you all about Prize Picks. With the basketball season here, and I mean college and the NBA, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League. This is a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, let's take LeBron James and Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3 points made and receptions. That's pretty cool. Want to play alongside Prize Picks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? Well, now you can find community plays under the promo tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Prize Picks also even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. There really isn't any fantasy experience like this around. I actually saw Andrew Schultz in this fun rom-com called The Feast of the Seven Fishes. And so it's pretty cool to be able to play alongside him. Anyway, go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA and use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. And we're back.
Hey.
Yes, and we are back. So before we took a break there, Shakira, you were talking about how you want to be known for these different facets of who you are and your life. And so you sort of you name dropped them a little bit. You talked about fashion, you talked about community outreach, which were 2 pretty successful parts of this program in the first 2 years of its launching.
Right.
So I guess when it comes to, we'll take them piece by piece. So when it comes to the fashion part, I mean, I still remember your draft night look. I'm sure there are many others who remember it. So I guess when it comes to wanting to immerse yourself more in that space, how do you sort of see that for yourself? What may that look like? And what have you heard from the folks at the WNBA about how you can accomplish some of those goals in the fashion space?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that caught my eye was seeing, people in the WNBA and New York Fashion Week. I'm like, this is something we can do. Like, I didn't really think that was an avenue that we could really take. And I've always kind of just been into fashion. I actually, I don't make a lot of clothes, but I definitely know how to sew. And I'm a tall girl, 6'5", one of my aspirations has always been to have my own clothing line. It's really hard for me to get clothes that are still spontaneous and fit the way I want it to fit without looking like a mom or something. So that avenue has just always been, something I've looked into, and seeing, the girls being able to express themselves, and I've always wanted to do photo shoots and just be able to showcase everything that I am, and it's just been exciting watching that.
I love that. I love that. You want to, do you do sketches?
Yes. I'm not a good drawer at all. I'm not an artist. That's not one of my skills. I have a lot of skills, but that is not one. But being able to sketch it just gives me a little bit more of a blueprint basically it makes the process a little bit easier. I kind of can visualize it and just jot it down on the paper. And yeah, I've been creating clothes for a couple years now. I've had people reach out when I was in college, but I never could, focus on it too much. So maybe that's the avenue that'll come in.
It takes a lot of work. I went to college with now a professional theater designer, and what was interesting about being his friend and going to school with him was that he was a math major, and so he used so much math.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. A lot of math. Like, it's not just, sewing the front and the back, or, stitching stuff together. Like, you have to have every angle right of your curves, your shoulders, your inseams. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. So.
Okay. So it seems like it's not just about maybe the modeling here for you. It's about the designing and showing people that that's a passion of yours too. Oh, that's awesome. That's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
So in that second part I was talking about, being in the community. And I remember last year or I think it was a year ago, some of the players on the PMAs, they went to Dick's Sporting Goods and they like shopped around with some young girls, and it was the most wholesome thing I've ever seen in my whole life. It was like a cure for my seasonal depression. And so you mentioned that, you're really drawn to that type of community work as well. So just sort of take me through what type of community events you're thinking of wanting to be able to be involved in through this program.
Right. Well, my I was raised pretty much tied into the community, giving back. My family has their own annual Thanksgiving that they, we cook and we hand stuff out to homeless people. But my first time being able to actually get really involved was during an internship at Ole Miss. I was able to participate in basically a CPS program. I was able to tag along with basically the caseworkers and go to court and basically go to the houses, be involved. That's something I've always been, interested in and wanting to figure out how to help kids like that, because I also myself, grew up in a child custody battle that definitely had a big damage to, my childhood. And just figuring out how to give back to them. On top of, my favorite thing is, going to like YMCAs and doing, what is those things, the Boys and Girls Club. Like, every time my school or my team would do anything like that, they would have to like drag me out of there, because I'm like so involved, like playing with the kids, doing TikToks. Like, I'm a kid at heart. I'm the oldest of 7. So it's just something about making a kid feel like their dreams are just as reachable as mine are. I really take a big I don't know what the word is, but I really love doing just things like that. DC is a really big city that a lot of people need help at the end of the day. You can't walk out of the gym without seeing somebody who, you can maybe reach or touch, and just anything that can help me, maybe a more organized setting of helping, because my dad, He told me it was Thanksgiving. I was actually in DC, and I wanted to, cook and give to the homeless people who live right underneath my bridge, right 2 minutes away. And he was like, let's not go by yourself, but maybe we can put something together so that
Mhm.
the actual real setting, a real organized thing. And I think this opportunity, them telling me that certain things that I'm interested in like that can be, possible. I'm like fully on board. So
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I mean, what if you were to think about like an ideal community event that you were able to help put on? What would it sort of look like?
um it will probably be definitely basketball oriented.
Sure.
Probably like a lot of games. Definitely some type of good food. I also love to cook. So some good food in there, and just some way to give back. I mean, if it's clothes or I know my deal with Nike allows me to like run camps and stuff, and they'll provide certain resources. Honestly, that's like the perfect setup to me. It's really just anything with kids. Like now, like I said, I'm the oldest of seven. Feel like I've been a mom since I'm like 13. So it just feels good to know that, you're not just sitting here, ignoring people who can really use any type of help. And especially when you're able to give, I feel like you should. So
Yeah, and I think any act of kindness, at least the studies have said that good for your mental health. So it,
exactly.
it helps you too, you
Yeah,
know?
it really does. Like when I was going through my injury, it was one of the hardest things, but just figuring out how I can just, be kind. And it's not always like, something financially or, doing something physically. It just might be just having some, putting a smile on somebody's face, like little things like that. So it makes me feel better. I know that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Um, we're going to take a quick break once again, but when we come back, we will continue our discussion with Shakira Austin all about player marketing agreements and what lies ahead. I know we come to sports to escape from some of the crazy realities of real life, but can we just talk for a minute about preparing for real life? So, according to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade. That's a bit scary, isn't it? I can't imagine a more nerve wracking feeling than if one of my loved ones got sick while a supply chain issue kept them from the life saving medication they need. Thankfully, we'll all be okay thanks to Jace Medical. The Jace case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs, respiratory, sinus infections, skin infections, and others. This can happen to any of us. Visit jacemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at the fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. Go to jacemedical.com and use offer code locked on to get $20 off your offer. And we are back. Hello, Locked On Women's Basketball. I have Shakira Austin here. We are talking all about player marketing agreements, and she is one of the many WNBA players who is going to be on a league marketing agreement for the 2024 season calendar year. So we just spoke about your love of clothing design and fashion and giving back to the community. I'm curious though. So a part of PMAs also is they have you all meeting with different brands. Like there were these commercials, there was the Google Pixel commercial, the Glossier commercial and things like that. And so I guess I'm curious for you, when you have a meeting with a brand, what do you want them to know about who Shakira Austin is?
Think about that one.
An
um,
interesting question. I thought it was.
yeah, it was a great question. Um, I I just want a brand to understand that it's not, for me, it's not just about the financial, aspect and, that type of a mutual agreement. For me, it's about, not only do I want them to represent me, but like, I want to be able to represent brands that align with things that I like too. And, I don't think I have a type of description, because I wouldn't say I would limit myself to anything. But yeah, I just really want them to understand that, I'm not just, a ploy to just try to sign this contract. Like, I want to be able to tell my story and, be able to be myself. I mean, I'm 6'5". I'm tall. Everybody sees me anytime I'm going anywhere. Like I said, I love beauty and fashion, and, like I said, I have a story to tell. And, I just would love to be represented by brands like that and be able to collab and, just realize that it's more than just about money. So
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so I guess I'm also curious about what you see these, or a player marketing agreement, what you see it doing for the league. I mean, we spoke about off air where I was in DC and I saw a sticker with your face on it going into the metro station.
yeah.
What do you think participating in this, especially during the WNBA offseason where there aren't games and there's less chatter, what do you think that's going to do for the W as it continues to grow and the viewership continues to go
Yeah.
up and everything continues to go up?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, everything is going up. Women's sports is going up. So to be able to have this opportunity to stay and grow this brand, it's amazing. I can walk around and, people ask me every time, do you play sports? Or who do you play for? Or I seen you here, this, that, and the third. So, I think having more people, I mean, obviously everybody's not 6'5", so, they don't have that pleasure, but I still think that's a great opportunity to just get our faces in the communities on these brands. I mean, you see in the women's sports in college, it's skyrocketing. People are looking forward to, these top talent and players coming into the league. So I feel like this opportunity shows that, yeah, we kind of have some top talent and some great people in the league now, and this will give us a chance to really, just like I said, tell our stories and not only uplift the league, because there is the rule coming that we can't really have both. Sometimes it's looking like with overseas and the W. So this is just a great opportunity for us to really solidify our priorities and just show that the league is growing, and this is a great time to just learn.
Mhm.
But like, people are starting to get more into women's sports and especially basketball. So I think this is just a great opportunity. So
You spoke about learning. I'm curious what you think you're going to learn from this experience. I mean, you may not know yet, but
yeah,
just before getting right into it,
yeah.
what maybe do you want to learn?
Um, for me, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be able to represent myself, and I think collabing with these brands like one on one and getting my face out there and letting them understand that we're pretty marketable. I think it's great. I just really want to be able to build relationships with some of these brands. Hopefully that will help in the long term, and just continue to elevate the game. Honestly, I think I'm going to learn a lot from all aspects. Just maybe how to, carry myself being on the PMA, and just figuring out how to, get what I want at the end of the day, while also, boosting, my image. So
Absolutely. It's interesting. I had a chat with DiDi Richards, I want to
hmm
say, when was it? I think it was almost a year ago. And she sort
yeah,
of gave me this interesting metaphor. She said, Jackie, it's sort of like we're a bunch of Trojan horses
mhm,
where you put players into a room with a brand or a company,
yeah,
and since the players of the W are really smart and they're really well rounded,
yes,
um, it makes it makes some really interesting things happen. I mean, she sort of said to me, she said, "Well, you could throw Asia Wilson into a room with her friend Saweetie and all of these other hip hop stars. You throw Sydney Colson into a room with comedians. I mean, it's sort of like maybe some fashion designers
hope
or
so. I hope so. Shoot.
and the brilliant thing there is, I mean, who knows? I've heard stories about different players meeting musicians and saying, "Hey, like, come to a game." And
Yeah,
we've started to see that
yeah,
come to fruition,
exactly.
um, which is pretty surreal.
Right.
So is that the type of thing that maybe you think about where it's like, ooh, someone who I've really looked up to in a certain
Yeah.
space. So is there someone who comes to mind?
LeBron James. I'm like, when they said NBA All-Star Week, I'm like, oh my gosh, like these people gonna see my face, they gonna know who I am, and I'm very personable and I have a great personality. So if I can get them to come to some games and post some pictures and stuff, like it's a win-win. And on top of that, I'll be able to say that LeBron James or whoever is my friend, maybe. I mean, that's great. So yeah.
Anyone not in the basketball world who you could think of?
um yeah, definitely probably some music artists. I love Janae Aiko. Um
Ooh.
I'm definitely like an R&B girl, so I know Kaylani, she's coming into the the college and women's sports. So yeah, the list is endless. Honestly, I could probably tell you everybody who I'm waiting to meet, but I'm not gonna do that because I'm not a fan like that. We on the same level. So yeah, I'm excited. Like really, just not even just not even just celebrities, but like you said, like those fashion brands and designers, and just being in certain rooms that people years ago in the league just weren't able to get into. So this PMA is something that allows us to kind of bridge that. I mean, you can see how someone like Cardi B and Angel Reese, like that's something that we can have for the WNBA too. Like it's amazing. So
It is quite amazing. I
yeah,
mean, it will, yeah, I mean, that's the that's the only descriptor I can think about. I think the final thing I wanna touch on with you, Shakira, is just, and maybe you may not know the complete answer to this yet, but you sort of spoke about how, a year ago, it was sort of like, okay, the WNBA season ended. You went, I think it was, you did a USA basketball thing, and
yeah,
then you went right to overseas. There
yeah,
was no sort of stoppage. I just wonder maybe what you think your day to day life might look like,
yeah.
not being in the overseas grind, and how that might compare to sort of, last year to this year?
Yeah. Honestly, this is something I've never had before. Like, never had a break, and I'm pretty sure almost every other professional women's hooper can say that probably. this is the first time that something like this is available. So for me, I'm just honestly not only taking this time to, obviously rest my body.
Mm-hmm.
I think, probably playing year round is the reason that I'm injured now. But, I just think this is just a great opportunity for me to just learn more about myself as a woman. I mean, I'm a 23-year-old who is, an up and coming star in the league. And, I haven't really had no time to myself. I haven't had time to spend with my family. I haven't had time to even think about. I've had all these, visions of, oh, I want to do YouTube, and oh, maybe I want to do, this fashion or X, Y, and Z. I've never had the opportunity really to get into that. And I think this time really just allows me to just sit back and just chill and really just figure out how I can better prepare myself, and really just come up with a better plan now. So yeah, that's pretty much what I think my day to day. I mean, on top of, I'm rehabbing right now, but this will be done in a little while, and once that is over, I mean, the time is endless. So I'm just really excited to figure out what different avenues I can really get into. So
Yeah, that's brilliant. And working on your game too, which I think
exactly. Exactly. Like a true off season is something that I'm like the most grateful for right now. Like, of course, it's not the best scenario I want, but I think it's better long term, and I think a lot of players, I hope they get the opportunity to do something like this too, because playing year round ain't no joke. On your mental and just on your physical body, and I want to be prepared for when the season starts. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's going to be, I mean, we say this, every season is bigger than the one before it.
Exactly. It's continuing to get up. So.
Well, Shakira, thank you so much for the time. This was a lot of fun. I feel like I learned much more about your story and who you are, and I hope that the country will start to as well.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you so much, Jackie. I really had a great time.
That was my conversation with Shakira Austin. I hope you enjoyed it. She's one of the fascinating younger players that is absolutely setting herself up to take not only the WNBA by storm, but the fashion world as well. Anyway, before I sign off, I wanted to remind you all that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on the YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Well, this is Jackie Powell signing off, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Thursday.
Ogunbowale for the win.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball,